Hello, and welcome to Economics and You. I'm your host, Mr. Samuelson. Today we're going to be looking at capitalism, digging deep into this one economic system to kind of figure out where it came from, what it means, and who benefits from it. This is done in support for our Unit 1 DBQ. Let's talk about what existed before capitalism for a moment. Before capitalism, there was an economic system known as feudalism. Feudalism dominated the Middle Ages. And in this system, we have the king who owns all property. Everything belongs to the king. Everything in that kingdom belongs to the king. And he leases out huge chunks of land to nobles. So he tells a duke or a count, hey, you're in charge of this area of land, but in return, I need taxes, I need men for my army, I need food, I need all these other things. But it's really a lease agreement. The duke and the count doesn't own the land, the king owns the land. And then the dukes and the counts, the nobles, do the same thing with knights, who then do the same thing with peasants. The peasants own nothing. They are on land that they are leasing from knights who are leasing that land from nobles that is owned by the king. Everything belongs to the king in a feudal economic system. And in this system, everybody's poor. Even those who are leasing the land are in some way poor because they have everything by the grace of the king, right? The king still is in charge and owns everything. That's a feudal economic system. And that's what we're going to be breaking away from. We break away from that as markets and trade start to develop. The importance of trade cannot be understated. Here we have an image of the Silk Road, bringing goods from Asia all the way through into Europe. And as these goods enter Europe, the people who are carrying those goods, the traders, start to earn a profit. They start to earn some money from it. Their wealth isn't coming from land that is owned by the king. It's coming from their own hard work and their own willingness to take risks. And as those traders gather more and more wealth and become wealthier themselves, and they start to employ other people that are now not working on the land, they're employed by these traders, by these merchants, by this middle class. We start to see a break away from feudalism and the development of this middle class that is not a part of feudalism. Their property is their own. It is private property. And over the course of centuries, as trade expands and as more and more people are working for the middle class and eventually joining that middle class, it reshapes economics throughout the world. And as this middle class grows and as their influence grows, so does the expansion of markets. Now, Adam Smith is going to publish a book in 1776, the year of American independence, that helps to explain and then guide the evolution of this type of free market society. He said that when people act in their own interests, society as a whole benefits. And we need to get away from the idea that we do things economically for money. That we're not doing we need to get away from the idea that we do things to help others. Instead, we do it for money. We do it for ourselves. The quote next to his image there says, "It is not from the benevolence, the kindness of the butcher or the brewer or the baker that we expect our dinner." They don't make this stuff to be kind to us. They're not making our ingredients for our dinner out of the kindness of their heart. They're doing it because they get paid. They get your money to do it. They do it for their own self-interests. And that this principle guides all of the decisions of people in our economy. And he argued that the role of government then in the economy should be extremely limited. That government should step back and just let people act in their interests. That the butchers and the brewers and the bakers, their self-interest is going to be in the self-interest of society. A butcher, for example, can't charge too much for his meat because you'll go to a different butcher. The brewer can't put poor ingredients into his beer because you'll go to a different brewer. And that all of this stuff will work itself out in a system that Adam Smith called the invisible hand. So long as people are allowed to act in their own self-interest and competition exists in the market, that is, there's more than one butcher, more than one brewer, that this invisible hand is going to move the economy better than any government ever could. This really helped to explain and in many ways drive the modern system of capitalism. And in capitalism today, people are mostly free to act in their own self-interests. If you want to start a business, start a business. It's your own self-interest that's going to drive that decision. So take something that you love doing, and if you can make a buck doing it, go for it. That's you doing what you love and supporting your family in a way that you can do it. The only interference within this modern capitalist system is supposed to be where the government ensures that other people's freedoms are not limited. For example, if a giant Coca-Cola factory wants to set up shop, it might be in their self-interest to drain all the water from a particular area to go into bottles of Coke. But that's going to hurt other people. That's going to hurt their ability to access that water, to have safe, clean drinking water, or to water their crops. So the government does step in to interfere to make sure that public resources are used in a way that does not harm others. But apart from that, in a modern capitalist system, government is supposed to take a big step back and just let people act in their interests. So who benefits from this crazy capitalist system? Well, the people who benefit the most are those who take risks on new ideas, work really hard to see it through, and in the end were successful in choosing the right risk. Those are the people who really benefit in capitalism. You take the idea of, we'll just say Mark Zuckerberg, the guy who created Facebook, okay? He just had an idea, started working on it, ran with it, and now has billions and billions and billions of dollars. Took the risk on a new idea, and that's who benefits in capitalism. That's who benefits the most. It's easy, though, to look at other examples. Anybody can really start a business or create a new product. If you like baking and you're a good baker and everybody who eats your food says, wow, that's really good bread, well, start a business. You can make a living doing that. They benefit too. Anybody with an idea, a skill, or an interest who is willing to take a risk, take a chance, work hard, and set up a business can be successful in capitalism. People get to choose the work that they do. And if you choose to work for somebody else, you get to choose your payment. Nobody else is dictating to you, this is what you're worth. Not in a true capitalist system. You sit down and you say, hey, I think I'm worth $100,000 a year. And they say, well, we can only pay you 70. It's like, well, let's negotiate this and find out what your value really is. Who benefits in a capitalist system? The people do. The people who are free to act, the people who have ideas that they're willing to pursue, the people who work really hard to make their ideas, make their dreams come true, that's who benefits in a capitalist system. Next time we'll look at our communist system, but that's all for today. Thank you for joining me for Economics and You, and farewell.